So this is a 2007 Kia Rio. I'm going to be doing the CV axle on the passenger side, right side. You can tell why. She's leaking. So first thing, get the car up, both sides, just in case you need to turn the steering. You just want to put it right on the pinch welds. Be safe. And we'll start taking the first things off. Gonna get this cotter pin off, get the castle nut, both for the spindle to the strut. Get these bolts off. I'll leave all the sizes of the sockets you need down in the description, so check that beforehand. I actually did brake pads on this not too long ago. This is a family pretty much car, so I'm helping them out. First, before anything, you want to spray down the castle nut and these two, and maybe that sensor. Mine was a little difficult to get out. It was a little corroded in there, as you can see. Spray everything down and let it soak in for a little bit. This one only has 100,000 miles, but we are in the Pacific Northwest, so a little bit of rust, but hopefully nothing stops us up too crazy. So this is the first issue I ran into. This is the largest socket I have, 36 mil, and it's too big. 27 is too small. So I think we're going to have to go to the store. Luckily, there's a Harbor Freight right up the street from me. Go up there, and like I said, all of the sizes of the sockets you'll need will be in the description at the end. So if you need those, go to the description, check there, and they'll all be listed for exactly what you need. Yeah. So this is where I'm currently at. Just got back from the store. I got these two top bolts loosened and out. They can be pushed out. I got that main CV axle wheel bearing nut, castle nut off. And then I used a hammer and a metal punch. It didn't really take much force just to push that right out. If you're replacing the whole CV axle, it doesn't really matter if you damage this. You would try not to, obviously, but if you do, not in the world, you're replacing it. I also have this bungee cord here to just try to keep any kind of strain off this brake line. Once I get this CV axle out and this dropped down, it'll want to fall. I've seen other videos where they don't do any type of just security, just in case it puts strain. I've seen people take it off and they say it's fine. I would never put any amount of weight on your brake lines. It's not good practice. If you want to avoid it entirely, there's two big bolts, one there and one down lower, that you can see it right there. To take this entire brake caliper off and use something like this, hang it from the coil, and it'll be out of your way. No worries there. So we're underneath the car now. This is the tie, or not the tie rod, the CV axle end that goes into the transmission. As you can see, we got a little leak going on there. Probably should replace this while I'm in here, but you know, fuck it. So we're gonna take two pry bars, stick them right in there. They actually make, like, pretty sure it's copper or bronze, like kind of like pickle forks. You put them in there and they're made so they don't damage CV. But like I said, we're replacing this thing, so you know, doesn't really matter in our situation. But best practices. And that's what happens when you don't drain the transmission first, I guess. Completely forgot about that, but, well, this floor is already messed up, but you can see it popped out there. We just gotta pull it out the other end, and hopefully she comes out all nice and smooth. So we're finally able to get it out. Slid right out, no problem. This is our new one. This is the old one that came out. As you can see, this boot's all busted up. You might not be able to see perfectly on camera, but it was flinging grease everywhere. There we go. Yeah, it's flinging grease everywhere. So you want to make sure your new CV comes with a new castle nut. You don't want to reuse the old one. And a new C-clip on the end. And a trick I've been taught is you always want to install your CV axle. You see this clip? You want this clip facing up, the opening facing up when you go to install it. So when you put it into the transmission, you want this clip facing up. Apparently it's supposed to help. I don't know the exact reasoning to it, but I trust the guys I've learned from. They've been around for a while. So I'll trust what they say. And you also just want to make sure that they match before you put it in, before you void the warranty on your part, if it has one. And these look pretty close. They might be a little bit off just because this one's newer. It's not all blown out. You can see how tough this boot is. Yeah, I think we're good. This should work. And let's get it in. So it's a couple hours later. Not a couple, it's like an hour later. And I was able to get the old CV axle out and was able to pop the new one in. As you can see, I just put these in here just to kind of hold everything in place. I had to turn the wheel to the right, as if you're turning right, to get more access over here, to be able to slide the old one out, put the new one in. I had to take off this bracket for the line because I had to put it on the other side of this mounting kind of arm. So up over once it dropped down. And I'll show you the underside of what it looks like when it's fully slid into the transmission. I had to push on it from underneath and have one of my friends push on it from up here, and it finally slid in. And I'll show you what I used to get that C-clip to sit in there. So when you're going to put the CV axle into the car, this is the best tactic that I've learned. Go pick up some red and tacky from O'Reilly's, whatever. And what holds you up is this C-clip. You want to make sure your new CV comes with a new C-clip and a new castle nut that goes on the other end. What you want to do is use that grease and make this C-clip sit right in the middle, because that bottom or side or whatever, that's the thing that's going to hang you up inside the transmission, and it's going to be a pain to get in. So what you want to do, use that grease, get it to sit right in the middle, and slide it on in. And this is the old one. You can see where I was slinging grease right there. There's a big old hole in it, and that's also messed up. But use this tactic, it'll do you well. It worked in minutes with me. I struggled with it by myself for hours and did this and had a friend push on the other end, and it popped right in. So I got the axle nut torqued and staked. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. Got the strut bolts torqued down and everything else tightened up. The sensor and the brake line. And yeah, it's in there. We're just gonna throw this wheel on. I have someone holding the brakes right now. Well, not right now. If he would hold the brakes down. There we go, now they're holding down. and we'll get this wheel torqued.